What's going on, guys? Slypie here, and today I'm going to be reviewing my brand new Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin Custom Plushies. Wow, that is a mouthful. That is a lot of words. They just keep adding more titles onto these games, so we're going to have to live with it. It's like the Monster Hunter series at this point, but alright. So all four of these guys collectively took about 3-ish days to make. If I was better with my time management, it would have been less. But they weren't extremely hard. Definitely the longest one was Monty. He took forever, and that's because I had to completely unsew a Monty plush and make a whole new altered pattern for him, and that's just extremely frustrating because there's literally no elements from Ruin Monty that exist on the original Monty, which is frustrating, but it was really fun, challenging, and he turned out phenomenal. Definitely my favorite out of the bunch. And then obviously the second hardest one to make was Roxanne, and I actually tried quite a few new techniques on Roxanne, and I'll go more in depth on each individual plushie later in this review, along with DIY videos that will be coming out as well. I am filming this a few days before Ruin actually gets released, so there may be some inaccuracies on these plushies due to the compared to the actual models in the game. This is just based off of the trailer models and any sort of official concept art that we have gotten so far, so they definitely will not be 100% accurate, but yeah. So let's get right into it. And yeah. Alright, first up here we have Ruin Glam Freddy. This was the second custom I made, and he looks pretty phenomenal. There wasn't much pictures I could really go off of for this guy. Just some old screenshots from the Steam banner for Security Breach when they first teased Ruin and things like that, but we actually have not seen the official version of him as far as I know in any trailers or gameplay or anything like that, so we don't actually know what he's really going to look like in the game, or even if he's in the game. So obviously, I'm recording this a couple days before the release of Ruin, so you guys probably already know what he looks like, and he could be completely wrong, but this is the closest I could get, and I think he looks really, really cool. Now, I used a couple new techniques here that are going to be new to some of you guys, and I'm hoping in the separate DIY videos I do for them, that you guys will be able to nail them and kind of practice some of them and use them for your own plushies in the future. But yeah, so starting off here, all I did was cut open the mouth here and just pretty simple, unsewed the middle and then cut 2 slits on the side, and then I just eyeballed it and fit 2 pieces of black felt in there and then sewed those in. You can hot glue them however you'd like to do it. You don't have to sew it. I just like doing that because it looks more official and clean, and that looked really nice. Now, for this giant face mark right here, this is probably the only part of the plush I don't like. You can actually see the old printing underneath this black Sharpie, and I could have opened this up and put a piece of black felt inside of here. That would have just been a complete hassle and something I didn't need to do for a plush that's so simple, so I didn't, and I just colored Sharpie, and so he looks like this, and I think it looks pretty good, especially when I go to put like filters over my videos and stuff like that. I will I will add a better contrast so you won't actually see this, and I don't even know if you guys can see this, see the printing underneath watching this right now. But he looks really cool. The only thing I really missed out on was the spikes on his wristband, which I didn't really care to add them, and I just don't think it's necessary, and the stripe on his hat. But I did add the withered shoulder pads, shoulder blades, and then his stomach is all Sharpie as well. All I did was used a fine tip Sharpie to outline all of this, and then I filled it in as much as I could with a thicker black Sharpie, and then went through and, you know, filled all the other small spots up with the fine tip Sharpie. So yeah, that looks really good. And then on the back here, we don't actually know anything about the back of him, so I just added my own withering. There's none on the back of the head, and I also put the earring and cut in his ear, which looks super good. Now for the eyes, I know in the actual render of him, he has just his normal eyes, but I found an even cooler picture. If I remember to put it up in the editing process, I will, of Glamrock Freddy, of ruined, shattered Glamrock Freddy, and I thought it looked really cool, so I did the red eyes instead, and I like it better. I think it looks cool, and it looks a lot more menacing and scary. But yeah, that was Glamrock Freddy, and there will be a full video on how I made him on its own, so look out for that video. Now, up next, this is where I really took the technique to the next level. This is actually the first of the 4 plushies I made. Originally, this was just, I had made a custom a long time ago that I didn't actually finish. I had just cut open the mouth and stuff like that. It was just stuffing and all that hanging out of a Shattered Chica, but I decided to turn this into Ruined Shattered Chica, obviously. And so it looks really cool, and you're probably wondering how I did this endoskeleton piece in here. So all I did was cut out this part of her face. I put a piece of black fabric inside of there and glued it onto the edges. And then for this endoskeleton part, all I did was take pieces of gray felt, I hot glued it together, I folded it over onto each other, so it was like a thick double piece of felt, and so that's why you get this really smooth line. It's just because I folded it over, and then you cut them to shape, glue them together, and just make these nice little thick lines, and it, you know, honestly helps and makes it look really nice. It's really good for 3D fabric work, and I've never done this technique before, but I'm going to be doing it a lot from now on. It is a very, very good technique, and I'm very happy that I figured out how to do that. Now for the body, the same thing as Freddy, I just used the Sharpie, and for the face, I tried to get all of these as accurate to the game model as possible, and there was more on this side, but obviously it had to be covered in Sharpie. And then I cut off the top of her head where her hair tuft and stuff is. She doesn't have earrings, and then I left her hand because she's just got a robot arm, but she still has her hand. And then around the back here, I just have some more withering that I just made up. We have her missing hand here with the wires, which looks super good. I didn't put any withering on her legs because this material is like impossible to draw on, so don't even try it. You're just gonna mess up your plushie. But yeah, no, it looks really good. And then for these like melted parts of plastic, I just took from the arm that I took off, and I cut them out and glued them on here, so I was able to actually use the arm I took off of her. So that's why this fabric matches so well. And then obviously for her her pink eye, her eyelids and stuff, all I did was take pink pieces of fabric and glue it on there and made little eyelashes. And it looks really good. Honestly, the only complaint I have is this side of the head, because that's just really hard. I would have had to take it all apart and stuff like that, and that would have been a whole thing. And I also should have cut the body in half and put an endoskeleton right there, but that was just a lot of work that I didn't need to do, and I wanted to get these out to you guys faster. So yeah, this looks really cool. Love Chica, and now we're gonna move on to Roxy. All right, now moving on to Roxy. This is not the hardest plushie out of the bunch. However, it was the most brain consumption, creativity mess, whatever that combination of words mean. Yeah, this one was tricky. I actually didn't have to restart once on this plush. This is all just the rough design that I had put together, but I was just kind of looking at the endoskeleton head that she has, and I was like, man, I could use the technique I used on Glamrock Chica. And so what I did is I glued 2 pieces of fabric together, cut out 2 circles, and then I did the same folding technique and folded this over, and let me see if I can get it to focus, and I kind of just cut it so where it starts out like this, and it's really hard to explain. I will show more of it in the DIY, but then I just glued all that together, and then, you know, we have some separate segments here that I added on later. We have this little square piece, this little piece, and for the eyes, I did the same thing, just really, really short. Let me see if I can show you guys. Really, really short folded over pieces that I just glued together. So these are 2 separate, or no, sorry, this is one whole piece that's just glued together to make a little donut. For the jaw, it was the same technique. I just glued a bunch of those squares together and made a nice little finish along with circles on the side here for the jaw joints, which are on the actual endoskeleton. And so all of this was really tricky to make, and you're probably wondering, well, what's underneath this, because there's obviously another piece of fabric. I just used Amalgamation's fabric I had left over. I use it on Monty as well, but I just made a simple circular stuffed piece of fabric using a simple pattern, and I glued all of this stuff on top. And for Roxanne's head, obviously, I just cut it off, and I glued these black pieces of felt to the insides of the cheeks, but not on the top. I originally put it on the top, but had to take it out because it was too thick. The ears fit right in these holes, so I glued them in like that. Super simple technique. And same with the little hair tuft here, same technique, looking really good. And all the hair back here is just her actual hair that I had leftover scraps, so I just cut it all out and made it look all crazy and creepy, and it looks phenomenal. Now, moving on to her body, all I did was cut out the body she had previously and took the pattern and used my gray fabric and just made a whole separate new body and sewed it back onto this one, and then took pieces of the pattern and glued it back onto the body to make it look all withered and scary. Same with the arm here. And then I used the mal fabric again for the hands. For the teeth, just same technique, folding over the fabric, cutting out the teeth, gluing it in, and then back there where you see all this black, that's just Sharpie. So before I glued all this on, I drew in the Sharpie right there, but I didn't draw it too much because you don't want to have to see it on the outside. But so that's just Sharpie. Looks really good. Definitely, I don't know, this is like tied for my favorite out of the bunch compared to Monty. They're just so cool. Like, this plushie is really cool. I did not expect it to turn out this well, and like, I've never done anything like this, and it looks phenomenal. I don't know. I really like this, and I am really proud of myself for being able to accomplish this face shape in this complicated of a design, because we've never had a FNAF character this complicated, really. And I decided to go above and beyond. So yeah, that is that is her, Roxanne, and I will show you guys in the DIY video how I did all of this. So definitely go check that out if you want to make any of these characters. But yeah, moving on to Monty. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for, Ruin Monty. Now, this was complicated. It's not super complicated to explain, but it was complicated to make. So basically, I just ripped apart a Monty plush, took the pattern for his head, kept the pattern entirely. This is just the pattern for Monty. However, I didn't sew the bottom jaw and the top jaw together. I left this open, and I sewed in my own pieces of black fabric, which looked a little goofy at first. I made the snout black instead of this color, that way I could hot glue these pieces of gray fabric, and this is just the same material I used for amalgamation, guys, the same mink. I hot glued these over to make the snout cage, and I put all these teeth in, which were really fun. Same technique, just folding over and cutting out just to make nice thick pieces of durable fabric, so you know they don't like bend and stuff like that and get contorted when they're, you know, in the closet and all that, or during filming, because no one likes that. That looks really silly. For the eyes, I just cut out pieces of black fabric and then glued on these eyeballs. Very simple stuff, just very time consuming and complicated to figure out, but if you follow in the tutorial, you really shouldn't have any issue with this. Same technique with this, just folded these over, put these little strands here and glued it on top like this. Looks really cool. Now, I am gonna warn you, if you do attempt this, Monty's pattern is not very simple. It's pretty complicated, so you're definitely gonna need to have some patience with it. Now, for the body, I just cut his body in half, took the pattern from that, glued on these pieces, these brown pieces, which he does have in the game. He's got a weird brown jaw and like this brown rib cage. And then on the back here, I have this big long piece that he has, big long wire, along with all these other smaller wires, which are just felt. And yeah, I sewed the head and the body separately, and then did a ghost stitch to sew them together at the end. So Yeah, and though he looks really good. I really like him. He's cool. He crawls around. He can climb on things. I really like him. His head's a little big, but that's okay. I mean, there's nothing you really can do if you're trying to make a plushie with an open mouth. It's just gonna be really big and chunky. But yeah, no, he looks really cool. I'm extremely happy with how he turned out. He's tied for Roxanne. They both look really, really amazing, and I just can't wait to put this guy in videos. But yeah, so here he is. He looks very scary, and yeah, that's him. Grr. But yeah, guys, those were all of my Ruin plushies. I hope you guys did like them. If you did, then please smash that like button. I know you're sick of hearing it, but it really does help me out a lot. And please subscribe, because that shows your appreciation, and also you just are subscribing to great content like this. Anyways, yeah, like and subscribe. Hope you guys did enjoy. Tag me on Instagram or on YouTube or anywhere if you follow the DIY and make one of these plushies, and I'll go check it out and give it a like, because I always love when you guys follow my DIYs. Other than just, you know, watching them. There's nothing wrong with that, but I like seeing your guys' creations and seeing people that I was able to inspire. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I will catch you next time. Enjoy Ruin and everything that comes with it. Hopefully we get some merch soon. But yeah, guys. Also, if you're watching this on July 25th, the day that Ruin got released, I'm probably live streaming right now, so go check it out. Later!
All I wanna do is to put my arms around you, and watch these moments fall back into place.